80 food partners that they are partnered with, including 9 in the Tulsa.
Good morning, everyone. We do have a tornado warning, so this is why we're going to break away from coverage and make sure you are prepared. Remember how I mentioned, hey, we are watching the potential circulation near the Scheidler area? Well, it was just enough for a tornado warning to be issued. So we're going to take a little bit of a closer look now. We're going to talk about this tornado warning. Let me stop this zoom. Of course, this tornado warning is a part of this line of storms that's currently starting to push into portions of green country here. It's going to take some time to get through green country, so we're going to be tracking this all morning long. It is for Osage County until 5:30 this morning, where we are mainly looking at radar indicated rotation. Remember yesterday we mentioned, hey, it looks like we had the characteristics and ingredients for tornadoes, right? But the cap was just it was held in place. We couldn't break the cap. We did get some hail out of that, and we did see 2 storms form, but that was essentially it. Well, now we're seeing a greater forcing along the cold front, and that's where these storms have formed. So it makes sense why we're seeing a little bit more rotation to tap into. Of course, our wind shear is pretty favorable at the surface for these storms to tap into. So this is what we're looking at here. So again, tornado warning. This is for Osage County. This is just east of Scheidler, heading to the northeast, and this tornado warning is in effect for 5:30 a.m. This is just north of Pawhuska. I'll put a track on this storm here. We have our storm chaser, James McMullen. He's out there, and he's the one who's kind of tracking this storm for us. He was just west of 412, I believe, east of Manford, and so he's going to be out there looking at this. We're going to switch to velocity, and so this is a pretty clear signal. I probably don't have to point this out for you. It looks like just northeast of Strom, west of Myers. Pretty clear rotation here. Green is toward, red is away, so that's where we can kind of see this rotation continue on. Now this system, at least the first part, this first segment into Osage County, was moving northeast at 55 miles per hour. So we're going to put a track on this to make sure folks who are in this line into Osage County can, of course, take shelter. If you live near Big Heart, Blackland, Pearsonia, Myers, Opa, Nanos, you're definitely going to want to take shelter immediately. This is just south of 4 Acre, and you guys are in the line of this storm here. So let's do a track, and we'll take this out. Tornado warning is only for the potential for a tornado to be produced. It's moving to the east at 50 miles per hour. So I'll just take it as far as the screen lets me. So it's going to be near Dewey at 5:48 and Copan at 5:51. Copan's on the far kind of eastern side. It looks like the storm may just go to the north of Bartlesville, so that's something we'll be watching going forward here. And so again, this tornado warning is in effect for 5:30 a.m. and it is in association with this long line of storms. So remember, if you guys were up with us, this was the beginning of March, where we had that squall line that moved through, or QLCS, we'd call a quasi-linear convective system. It's essentially a kind of broken but line of storms, and we can pick out individual circulations or portions of rotation within the line. Well, how many tornadoes did we have confirmed from that? 13. So this is kind of another scenario there. Still looking very bright. The circulation is well intact. Haven't had any ground truthing yet to see if this tornado is on the ground, but this is definitely at least strong rotation, at least above the ground here. Now remember, this storm is kind of in between some radars, so let's talk about that. The radar in Inola, that would be Tulsa's radar. This would be kind of sampling higher up in the storm, so it may not be picking up at exactly some low-level rotation. We can look into Wichita's radar. I think this would be our closest radar. We look up kind of just some distance there, yeah, I would say this would be our closest radar, and the rotation is quite significant just south of Pearsonia and west of Myers. So if you are near this area, near Blackland, Opa, north of Pawhuska, Strom, you look to be in the clear now. I know you were once kind of on the edge of that tornado warning. Those folks in Big Heart, near Oak Ridge, you're just outside of the tornado warning, but see how fast it's moving? It's moving very quickly. We were originally watching this circulation that was near Scheidler. That was at the start of this 5 o'clock show. It's only been about 13 minutes past the hour, and it's moving rather quickly. So if you live near Oak Ridge, Bowring, Hula, Hero, I would definitely just go into your safe space. Now, Copan, you're not in the tornado warning yet, but you want to make sure you have your go bag ready and everything kind of in place so you can just grab it and go. With our latest radar update here, now it's moving just south of Pearsonia, getting very close to Myers. Highway 60 is just south of this area, and it looks like it may jump up through. This is another extension of Highway 60, and it may come close to that as well. We're going to take a little bit of a closer look, of course, check chat to make sure we can see what's going on. I'm checking in with my storm chaser too. He said there was also something to watch near Stillwater, so let me change radars. This is what, okay, so actually I'm going to stay here. This is a confirmed tornado now. When we get these purple polygons instead of the red, that will confirm a tornado, and right now it's near Pearsonia and Myers. This is definitely something we're going to have to be watching here since it is on the ground. Of course, it is nighttime, so this is going to be very difficult to see unless it's illuminated by lightning, but you don't want to go out and look for it. One of the other major highways is Highway 99. It looks like this may cross Highway 99 near Opa and Nanos, as well as Big Heart. And so we are going to be watching this storm as it continues to track to the north and east at about 50 miles per hour. So very strong storm producing this tornado, now confirmed. We're going to be watching this as this system continues to track. We'll show you a whole line, the entire line of storms, that is. And let me change this so you can just kind of get the full view here. So this is a very long line of storms. Most of it is severe warned. When I back this out and clear this off, essentially this line of storms has warned from Kansas City all the way to Lawton. Just those folks near Oklahoma City don't have a severe thunderstorm warning over their area, but you can see this is a very long line of storms, and it's just now getting into our far northwestern corner of green country. So we're going to be tracking this all morning long. Not only can we see a tornado produce out of this line of storms, but also we could see 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Those were recorded in Blackwell originally this morning, as well as we could see up to about $half size hail, and that's what we currently see with the severe thunderstorm warnings in place. We may be looking for some damage here, so that's why I'm showing correlation coefficient. We've got our storm chaser, who is James McMullen. He's on Highway 48 south in Cleveland, pushing north towards that cell. So we're going to be watching for him too. Let me get his graphic put together. So once he gets there, we can definitely take that and kind of see what he's seeing. Shane upstairs, if you want to just kind of get prepared just in case for a phoner, that way if he is ready, we can do that. And if Kyle, whenever Kyle gets here, send him downstairs for me, please. All right, so we are watching. This is James McMullen here, and he originally was on Highway 412. He was, trying to at least stay out ahead of this leading edge of storms. And obviously we had the tornado warning, so now he is trying to backtrack. So I'm going to let him know. Let me know when you're in place for a phoner. Okay. All right, so he is on Highway 48 south in Cleveland. He's going to move north towards that cell, so that's what we're looking at right now. We've seen a lot of lightning increase on his stream since we've started chasing, since he started tracing early this morning, and he was out there, I'd say, probably in position about 4:45. So we're going to check back in with James McMullen once he gets set up and ready to go and a little bit closer to this storm. Also, I want to mention, it makes sense, right? We are under this tornado watch. This goes until 10 a.m. And obviously we have a confirmed tornado, so it makes sense. Everyone except for our far eastern and southeastern counties are under this tornado watch. This is for the counties in yellow. And again, this goes until 10 a.m. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw maybe Ottawa or Delaware counties included in this as this line starts to push more into southeastern Kansas, just to account for that. So we're back at it. We're looking at this confirmed tornado warning. It goes until 6:45, and it's pretty easy to make out the circulation. If you remember at the beginning of March, it was sometimes hard to tell. We could see maybe some weak rotation. This isn't weak by any means. This is definitely a strong tornado on the ground. Now north of Myers, Getting to the south and east of Pearsonia, this is heading towards Nanos and Big Heart, moving to the northeast, I would say, at about 50 miles per hour. We once noticed this circulation that started off right around 5 o'clock near the Scheidler area, but it quickly strengthened. There's enough wind shear in place for these storms to tap into and help produce that strong rotation on the ground, as well as, of course, instability has been increasing, moisture has been increasing, those gusty winds out there currently, why we have the wind advisory in place, that's pulling in a whole lot of moisture and continue to do so through the overnight hours. So we're going to be watching this specific cell as well as the rest of the line of storms to see if any more tornadoes will be produced at this time, and we're going to stick with this at least until this tornado warning expires, and then of course we will go back to our regularly scheduled programming. But this is right now just one confirmed tornado that's on the ground over Osage County, just east of Pearsonia, north of Myers. It is heading to the east at 50 miles per hour. This is what we're going to be watching. Sorry, we've got our reporter, Joie Brown. She's texting me, making sure if I need any help or anything. And she's asking me a specific area to go. So I can say that we are wall to wall. And we have a confirmed tornado. Okay, sorry, this is what happens when you gotta kind of let everybody know where to go and such. But we are back at it, and we are going to show you this whole line of storms. Let's look, because that was more on the Tulsa radar, so let's switch back to the Wichita radar. Again, I think this is the closer one. When you get to the Tulsa radar at this point in time, when you look up into Osage County, we're kind of sampling more of the mid-level of the storm so we don't get an accurate look at maybe what the stronger rotation is at the surface. And we can see that here. That's definitely clear as day. So let me see if we have any more updates in the chat. It continues to move northwest of Pawhuska. And the tornado warning will be continued now until, so it's still continuing for 5:30. Confirmed tornado was near Pearsonia, and it's moving to the north and east of 50 miles per hour. We also could see quarter-size hail out of this system as well. So that's what we're looking at right now. Aside from this, let's go kind of top down to see if we can maybe kind of get a glimpse at any rotation that may be starting. I know there's been some instances of kind of weak rotation that we've been keeping our eye on so far, but I haven't seen maybe near the Gray Horse area, near Fairfax, but that's nothing confirmed. And this is the thing, you just have to go top down and see if you can spot out any sorts of rotation. This, of course, makes it difficult. You can't get any really ground truthing unless you have a storm chaser out there that can confirm this tornado's on the ground, or you know, you start to see any damage from that. So sometimes these rotations are so, you know, they're so broad, it's very hard to pick out. So right now we are just looking at the one tornado warning. Otherwise, the rest of this line, at least in portions of green country, is severe warned at this time. This first severe thunderstorm warning goes for Osage County into portions of Pawnee until 5:45 for half-dollar size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. We did have a wind gusts reported in Blackwell of 60 miles per hour, so this line of storms has a history of at least producing those damaging wind gusts. And then as we go farther to the south, we've noticed Creek County has now been included into the severe thunderstorm warning until 5:45. So that's what we're looking at right now in terms of warnings in our viewing area. Again, the most significant warning for us is the confirmed tornado warning for Osage County that goes until 5:30. I mean, this rotation is so strong, it's very clear and evident on radar that I'm going to guess with how quickly it's moving, we are likely going to see this tornado warning continue to kind of be extended downstream into far northeastern Osage County into northern Washington County. Kyle, just James McMullen is out there right now, so he's going to get in place for these storms. He knows to do a phoner when he's set, so let me know when he is ready to go. Thank you, Kyle, very much. And okay, so we're kind of getting everybody into position to give us another look. Looks like James McMullen, our storm chaser, is trying to get north of Cleveland, and we're getting set up for him to give us a little bit of look at what he's seeing. And so right now, we have one confirmed tornado. It looks like maybe, if I'm looking at this correctly, maybe two circulations you can kind of see that there, right? We'll have to wait to see if we can get any more, like another radar update to see if we can confirm this. But it does appear, looking at both, this is Wichita, this is Tulsa, maybe 2 circulations within this storm. So I don't know if it's cycling, maybe. We're going to have to kind of continue to watch that and see what this storm does. But right now, it is a confirmed tornado on the ground, and it is heading northeast towards Big Heart. It moved past Myers. It was confirmed near Pearsonia. We were watching for kind of some broad rotation that was over near the Scheidler area. And essentially, this thing is still going. It's been able to tap into the wind shear. It's been able to tap into the moisture and instability. So that's been kind of helping prolong this tornado. So we're going to be watching the chat here and make sure we're not missing any new updates. Could be trying to cycle to a new circulation southeast of the tornado. So it does appear that our logic is very close to what the National Weather Service office is thinking. And we may be looking at having 2 tornadoes in northeastern Osage County. So that's going to be even more difficult to track in terms of folks maybe trying to stay aware. You may have heard of, okay, we have a tornado warning over Osage County for one singular tornado. That's normally how it works, right? But we may be either looking at cycling or potentially 2 tornadoes that will be right close to each other. I'm wondering if it's working off the same parent cell, or maybe these storms are splitting. So we are definitely noticing circulation. This is some of our indicators within our graphic system to help us, you know, for watching things, to indicate some of that circulation. That does appear to be a very strong rotation. So right now, this is near Nanos. This is passing close to just south of Highway 60. Big Heart and Hero, you are in the direct line of 1, if not 2 tornadoes. You want to definitely seek your lowest shelter, whether that's a basement, an interior room or closet, a bathroom, and you want to make sure you pull at least a helmet over your head or a mattress, even a pillow, anything to cover yourself. Grab the kids, grab your go bag, and head into safety. This is also heading towards Hero as well. This whole storm is moving to the northeast at about 50 miles per hour, so it's moving very quickly, and it doesn't give you a whole lot of time to really get into your safe space. We're going to take a little bit of a closer look and update this view. So as of right now, it does appear that we're watching 2 circulations. I switched it back to the Wichita radar. We're going to go kind of back and forth as the system continues to drive north and east. This highway that is currently about to cross over near Big Heart. I believe that's maybe 166 or no, 99. This is Highway 99 right here that's getting ready to cross over Big Heart. I'm going to just kind of emphasize this. This thing is moving very quickly. If you live near Big Heart, that looked like Hero far away on my monitor. If you live near Hurd, Big Heart, Whippoorwill, Oak Ridge, Bowring, Hickory Hill, although you guys are not in the tornado warning specifically, you may get into the tornado warning within the matter of the next 5 to 10 minutes. This storm is moving very, very quickly to the north and east at 50 miles per hour. This is Highway 99 that I've outlined here, and it looks like it may cross Highway 99 just to the north and west of Big Heart and may get into Hurd. Let's take a look at some of the counties or towns that may be just to the north and east of this, so we make sure everyone's getting a kind of a fair representation. Bolanger Landing is also in this tornado warning, and it's likely going to take us right up to the Kansas state line near the Chautauqua area. So right now, this is the only tornado warning that we are seeing as of this time, and it's moving very, very quickly to the north and east. Just want to give a quick update. We are still seeing a severe thunderstorm warning for folks near Pawhuska, Winona, Hominy, Blackburn. The severe thunderstorm warning is for $half size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and it goes until 5:45. As well as folks near Pawnee County, Payne County, and portions of Creek County goes until 5:45. This kind of northern edge of this storm is moving faster than the southern edge, so to speak. So we're going to have to wait a little bit for kind of the second half of the line of storms to actually make it into green country, but we've just been given an update. an update on radar. So we're going to look at this. I'm still seeing 2 circulations, although it looks like the one near Big Heart may be a bit stronger and trying to win over that. Tornado is not keeping pace with the inflow of the storm. Okay, so this is what we're looking at right now. So remember, we mentioned 2 circulations, right? The first circulation was this one just west of Big Heart, kind of the more western edge, if you will, if you're looking at this on radar. This was the circulation that produced the tornado, thus why we have this confirmed tornado warning, or this purple polygon. But what's happening is this second circulation, or the more southern one, is starting to become stronger, likely tapping into more of the inflow. We've seen this happen, right? If inflow is coming up from the south, this second circulation is cutting off inflow from the north. And so all in all, that first circulation that we were watching that issued the confirmed tornado warning, that's going to die down. Notice how we now have an extension. See this red polygon? We're back to just a radar estimate tornado warning, not necessarily confirmed, because we are now looking at this second circulation. So the circulation right now is right over Big Heart, heading up to near Heard. It can produce a tornado. It's technically not confirmed right now, so we don't have any ground truthing on the second circulation if it is on the ground, but we were seeing it strengthen. So if you live near Big Heart, it's right over top of you right now. You want to be in your safe space. Heard, you're right next to it, and likely you may be clipped by this circulation. Let's take a little bit of a closer look. Since now we have this new tornado warning, it's going to go up to the Kansas state line, and we have it for Washington and Osage counties until 6 o'clock. So we're going to have this tornado warning at least for the next 30 minutes. And let's take a look at this, how fast it's going. See, so it's slowed down slightly. It's moving to the northeast at 45 miles per hour. Remember, there's also a wind and hail component with this storm, along with this tornado warning, of course. We do not have a confirmed tornado, but it looks like we potentially will be seeing one if this can strengthen again and tap into the inflow, as well as the kind of, you know, the strong instability that's been setting up all day since yesterday, but hasn't been tapped into. All right, our storm chaser, James McMullen, is in position. So James, you've been out since early this morning. What are you seeing right now, and where are you?
Right now I am cutting through Hominy, trying to catch up to this cell as it's moving quickly away from me. But the structure of this storm, you're not going to be able to see this, any rotation or anything, just the way it's coming in rain wrapped.
Right, you know, especially it's nighttime too, so it's very difficult to be able to see a tornado if it were on, or if it was on the ground. We've been seeing a lot of lightning on your stream. Of course, that poses some risks if folks are out this morning. But what about the winds? We know the winds have been howling since late last night.
Yeah, winds are still strong. There's quite a bit of inflow coming into this storm, so it definitely has some energy to work with.
Okay, and yeah, the atmosphere has technically been capped. We haven't been able to tap into energy and the instability that's been in place since yesterday, so no surprise why we're seeing a confirmed tornado. James, be safe out there. Let us know kind of where you're at in the next couple of minutes, and we'll be sure to check back in with you.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks, James. Thank you very much. So James is going to be out with us all morning long as we continue to track these storms. We're going to go back to radar right now. So they've dropped, the National Weather Service office in Tulsa has dropped the confirmed tornado warning, and now we are just seeing this tornado warning. Remember, radar indicated, and that's for this red polygon. So I switched it back to the Wichita radar. Again, we're getting kind of closer to that, getting away from it. This tornado warning goes until 6 a.m. Rotation is looking a bit more broad. This is definitely, you know, good news here, because we would love more than anything for this to weaken when folks are sleeping. This is not what we don't want to deal with tornadoes in general, but when folks are sleeping, this makes it a bit difficult. So Heard, you are in the clear. Big Heart, you are in the clear. Now it's getting closer towards Whippoorwill, Oak Ridge, Bow Ring, Hickory Hill, Hula, you're in this, as well as Bolangerville and Bolanger Landing. This tornado warning will be taken all the way up into the Kansas state line. But if you remember, the kind of southeastern counties in Kansas are still technically in our viewing area. So we're going to be sticking with this storm until the warning dissipates, and then of course we'll send it back to programming. But let's look at the rest of this line of storms. Of course, we know we have an entire line. As of right now, we do not have a confirmed tornado on the ground. We did, and that was just near Pearsonia, and that moved all the way up to Big Heart before we saw 2 circulations. And then eventually, you know, that southern one started to win out, and that's why we saw the dissipating tornado. So here's what we have, this line of storms that takes us from Kansas City all the way to east of Lawton. We have this tornado warning over Osage County for that circulation we've been watching across all of Osage County, and we still have severe thunderstorm warnings that are in place. Notice that this entire line hasn't moved very far, but the kind of northern edge in Green Country, the one in Osage County, is moving quicker. So folks may think they're in the clear because they're hearing this line move to the east, and that's just not the case. That southern line was initially moving at 75 miles per hour. It's kind of backed down a little bit. So the main concern we have so far, I would say, is the line segment from northeastern Osage County into Pawnee County, where of course we've already seen the confirmed tornado on the ground in Osage County. You've got this tornado warning that's present to the north and east, and of course severe thunderstorm warnings that continue across Pawnee County. Okay, sorry, I'm just double checking this here. Okay. All right, we're gonna go back to James. James, have you been able to make a little headway closer to the storm?
Yeah, I am now halfway between Hominy and Pawhuska on Highway 99. Still making my way towards it, but yeah, definitely just still a lot of strong winds and lightning pulling it in. Hopefully we get it reaches some stable air where it kind of dissipates a little bit.
Yeah, no, I was looking at some of the model data getting in this morning and, you know, putting a forecast together, and it looks like we may start to see a weakening trend once this line can get closer to I-44. So hopefully that is the case as this line does move through. I've noticed some rain on your windshield. Have you started to get into any of that heavier rain yet, or has it just been light for you so far?
It's been relatively light for me so far, nothing real heavy.
Okay, well that's good.
There is some, you know, vertical blowing rain, but other than that, just regular light rain coming in.
So not only do we have to be worried about wind, hail, and the potential for tornadoes, but eventually heavy rain will be a threat as folks get up early and get started on their morning commute. James, thank you so much. We'll check back in with you soon.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back to radar. We'll stick with James. We have him on radar, so he has made it up into Osage County. Just to give you more of a kind of where he's at in terms of radar, he's heading up just north, as he mentioned, north of Hominy, closer to Winona now. He's going to stay out ahead of this line as best as he can and just continue to give us updates with some of those stronger storms. And if you have to head out, what you may encounter as you go out and about for your morning commute time frame. Of course, he is a trained chaser. We trust what James says. If you don't have to be out this time and you can maybe wait till this line passes, I would highly suggest doing that. Let's go back to our tornado warning. You can see a little bit of a notch from Hula to Bowring. Let's see if velocity is any more impressive or if it's any bit more weak. Right now it's over Whippoorwill, but it's still looking a bit more broad. Let's switch to Wichita, maybe now north of Hickory Hill. At least that's where the Wichita radar is placing it. Of course, this is a lot more broad than, you know, what originally the circulation looked like. It looked very strong and impressive on radar. So this would be just near the Hickory Hill area. If a tornado was to develop and reach the ground, you definitely want to make sure you're in your safe space near Hula. And then it's going to cross Kansas state lines here very soon and enter just to the east of Chautauqua, heading up towards maybe west of Caney and Owen. and closer to Havana and Wayside. So we'll be watching this storm in particular due to the fact it has this tornado warning that goes until 6 o'clock. So that's at least another 25 minutes or so. We'll be staying on this one. And of course, if it remains intact and gets into one of our counties, which it will if this storm continues to be, this tornado warning continues to be issued downstream, this would head up to just west of Coffeyville and would technically be in our viewing area. So we would continue to cover that storm here. Let's look at the rest of this line, see if we're missing anything. Of course, we are dealing with strong winds possible, hail possible from Osage County into Pawnee and western portions of Creek. But as we continue to get updates, we were seeing that very strong tornado that was on the ground moving quickly across Osage County, whereas now these line of storms are finally starting to push out of the Oklahoma City metro. So it's taking a lot of time for this line of storms, essentially the second half, to continue to move from west to east. So that means it's still going to be some time before at least the southern half from Oklahoma City south, that line of storms will eventually make it into our counties here in Green Country. So right now we just have one active tornado warning. Of course, this is for Osage County, now into the northern and northeastern portions of Osage County, where the storm has produced a tornado in the past. This was a confirmed tornado and would essentially track north and east until we saw another circulation develop out ahead of it. Now it looks like the rotation is becoming very broad here. I'm wondering if they're going to let this expire or if they will expire it out ahead of time. So right now we are not seeing any more updates in that. I think they're just going to let it kind of move off into Kansas and let folks maybe over near the Wichita area kind of figure out what they want to do with this storm. But the circulation would be over Hickory Hill. And we're seeing, okay, there's our update now. So moving kind of past Hickory Hill to the north and east. This is just to the north of Hula and getting very close to the Kansas state line. So if we were to pick out some broad rotation, it would be right here to just north of Hickory Hill, getting close to the Kansas state line. This is east of Chautauqua, east of Bollingerville, north of Hula. It looks like Hula will be okay. We're still seeing some lightning with this storm, of course, and then eventually this will head on over to Caney, potentially closer to Highway 75 and Owen if it takes more of a northeasterly track. So far, one confirmed tornado. We were watching the second circulation that won out, kind of took away the inflow from the previous circulation that was reported on the ground, and we just have severe thunderstorm warnings for our far western side of the state. All in all, it's been quiet here in Green Country, specifically within the Tulsa metro, where we haven't seen any rain yet. Things have been dry, so if you're up early and you have to head into Tulsa early, now is the time to do so, as long as you're not coming in from the west. Once this line gets, of course, across the area, we could see up to 60, 70 mile per hour wind gusts, could see up to golf ball size hail, and of course the threat for tornadoes will exist at least until this line of storms crosses 44 and potentially shows a sign of weakening. All right, let's talk about hail here really quickly, because of course hail is can be a factor here for some of these storms. This is a radar estimate, but it looks like quarter size hail potentially north and east of Ripley. This would just be west of Yale. So potentially seeing some hail there, as well as with the strong storm in Osage County, west of Bartlesville, closer to Big Heart. We could be seeing some hail within this storm as well. So far, non-severe hail for most folks. Quarter would be technically severe, but we haven't had any reports. Again, most folks are kind of sleeping around this time. So we have a new severe thunderstorm warning to cover kind of this northern half of this line of storms. It includes a lot of counties. It does include Tulsa as well. So this severe thunderstorm warning is for Craig, Rogers, Osage, Creek, Washington, Nowata, Pawnee, and Tulsa counties until 6:30. This is just a severe thunderstorm warning for 60 mile per hour wind gusts and quarter size hail. So it looks like the hail threat is at least coming down just a bit. And overall, this huge line segment is moving to the east at 55 miles per hour. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a track on this, and then we're going to go out to James since he looks like he is going to be in that line of storms, or he already is. So moving to the northeast at 55. All right, so near Copan at 546, Bartlesville at 548, Ochelada 555, Skytook 603, Lenapaw at 608, Nowata 616, Ulaga at 621. Again, this line of storms has a history of producing a tornado, so we kind of have to be aware of all hazards possible, even though it's just a severe thunderstorm warning. All right, let's go back out to James. James, it looks like you're in the line of storms for where we have you on radar. How's it looking for you?
Yeah, right now the storm did catch up to me. I'm pushing back to the east on Highway 11 back towards Barnesville to try and keep ahead of this cell so we can get around to where that setup is at.
Yeah, it looks like the rain is really starting to come down by you.
Yeah, it's, I don't know if you could hear it on my mic, but yeah, it's definitely, heavy rain has caught up to me.
Okay, so if folks are maybe planning on venturing out, heading to work, this is something they likely deal with. How about the wind speeds? Have you noticed an uptick in winds, or are pretty much similar compared to what you were experiencing before?
Yeah, it's definitely heavier wind as that front caught up to me. But as I was in it, it's just right there along the gust front.
All right. Well, James, be safe as you reposition. When you get into a more secure location, let us know, and we'll kind of get an update from you. Thanks, James.
Thank you.
All right. So if you're going to go out and you have to make it out into work, this is likely what you'd be experiencing. Taking a little bit of a closer look at where James McMullen is at, it looks like he's on Highway 11. Getting ready to pass through Pershing and heading over to the Barnstall area. So he is just on this leading edge of storms, what we call a gust front. It's kind of the leading edge of wind. Sometimes the gust front can get out ahead of itself. So he was talking about he was experiencing those gusty winds along with this line of storms. Of course, there's a lot of heavy rain built into this line of storms and a lot of lightning. And now he's kind of under some of that heavier rainfall. So if you don't have to be out in this line of storms and you can kind of camp out at home and wait a little bit until this line passes, I would highly suggest doing that. Otherwise, you know, just make sure to take it slow, take it safe, and make sure you have either your radio turned up or you're able to get warnings safely in case you need to go seek shelter while you're out and about. All right, we're going to take a bit more of a wider look. It looks like the tornado warning has expired. So we're going to send you back over to programming. I believe we're in our morning show, and we'll join back in to give you the latest look at your weather.
Reports from Washington.